Hello everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm back once again. So the things that I make aren't necessarily because I'm good at anything. It's only because since I'm kind of crafty and I see things on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, and I say to myself, I wonder if I could do that. Hence the projects that I make, that's kind of where the ideas to make them come from. So one that I've had in the back of my mind for a couple years now, I wanted to do a deer hide. And after researching it for quite a while, what I decided what I wanted to do was make buckskin, which is the removal of the hair off the hide and then dry the hide out. And what I intend to do at the end of it was to make some drums. I thought that would be pretty cool. So I went on Facebook and I said, does anybody have a deer hide? Because in New York State, it's deer hunting season. And around here, if you don't use them, people just throw them away. So my sister-in-law sent me a deer hide. It was huge. And I began the process of making buckskin. So some of this is pretty graphic if you've never seen, a deer hide with like flesh on it and stuff. But this is how it's done. I researched and researched, and I found what I thought would be the easiest way for me to do it. And that was to get lime, hydrated lime, from the local hardware store. After I fleshed all the meat, fat, whatever, off the hide, I then put it in a bucket with water and some hydrated lime to remove the hair. This wasn't as easy as it sounds. The fleshing part was extremely hard because I didn't have a fleshing apparatus. I didn't have fleshing tools, and I tried a knife, an old butcher knife. I had several things that I was working on. In the end, I did manage to get it all done, and I'll show you step by step the process that I went through. And today is the day I finally got the hide. It's out in the garage. I stretched it out on some wood. I'll show you all these steps. Let's get to it. This is me trying to get the leftover flesh, meat, fat, whatever, off the hide. I have a 4x4 post in front of me, propped up against a stool that I'm holding in place with my foot. And I'm trying to get this stuff off. I tried a knife, I tried a cleaver, a spatula thing. I had all different kinds of stuff, and eventually I did get it off. But that's draped over a 4x4 post that I'm holding with one hand and then trying to scrape that stuff off with the other. It took about 2 days to get all this stuff off. This is the biggest mistake I've made in a long time. I was taking off this hair after I had soaked the hide in lime with bare hands. And of course I burnt the crap out of my hands. They're all better now, but warning, warning, warning. If you ever use hydrated lime, use gloves, please. The next step is to rinse the hide several times over and over to get that lime off of it. We had a heavy, heavy rain. I ended up positioning the bucket underneath my downspout and let the rainwater just massively rinse this. Look at the action on that from the water pouring into the bucket. Then it was time to try to stretch the hide on a frame. I didn't have large enough pieces of wood, and it looked horrible. Luckily for me, a friend brought in a bunch of pieces of wood for me that were big enough, and I was able to stretch the hide out properly, where it now is drying in anticipation of someday becoming the heads to drums. So that's it. The hide is stretched on the wooden framework. It'll take a while for it to dry. It'll become hard as a rock, basically. And at which time I'll end up having to break it, which I did with the squirrel hide, so I know what it's like. And you have to run it across wood, and it kind of breaks the fibers and makes it softer. And I'll get it wet, but it's a long process yet to come. Now I need to read up, watch up videos on how to make the wooden hoops that I'm going to stretch the hide over and make a drum. So that'll be in the future because it's going to take a while for that hide to dry out. So I hope you enjoyed watching it. And it's the anticipation. Will she make the drums or won't she? Thanks for watching.